14 Kilometers is a non-profit NGO based in Berlin, and we are working for intercultural exchange and cooperation between Europe and the MENA region. MENA region means Middle East and North Africa. The reason why we're doing ReliXchange, an international interreligious youth project between Germany and Egypt, is because we think that the topic of religion is very important for both countries, and also for the interrelation between the two countries. Because as we could see in the course of the Egyptian revolution, and also shortly after, there was lots of conflicts in Egypt between members of different religious groups. And also in Germany, we've got a big problem with not only anti-Semitism but also Islamophobia, and this is why we think that this is a topic that should be addressed, and it should also be addressed with participants of both regions. We have 20 participants from Germany and Egypt taking place in this project, 10 young Germans and 10 young Egyptians. And they are working together during the 2 exchange weeks on different topics to do with religion, and also the question of religious minorities and majorities in the 2 countries, Germany and Egypt.
I think interfaith and interreligious dialogue is very important, because we see in the modern times that there are still many conflicts and many people suffering from cases like religious war and religious conflict. And so I think the opportunity to practice exchange is really good and really helpful to maybe achieve a better place for religion in society. The most important experience that I made in this project is what goes around comes around. So be open. If you're going to be open to others, they will be open, and then you can exchange your thoughts.
People in my village would say that Muslims are dangerous and that Jews, I don't know, they are very critical against other religions. Everything is very Catholic, so I just wanted to break out of this. I think the best experience was visiting the 3 prayer houses, church, mosque and synagogue, because we really could see every religion has its own background, its own tradition, but it has a right to exist.
%70 with a Turkish background coming to this mosque, and we have the other 30, some Germans, some Arabs, wherever from. And Berlin now has approximately, they say, about 100 mosques, or let's say masjid, smaller praying rooms. It's only few ones with the traditional architecture of a mosque. Smaller rooms, praying rooms, they have about 100. And then some are, let's say, from a Tunisian community, some Egypt, Syrians, whatsoever. And, but the biggest group are the Muslims from Turkey. When it comes to the prayer itself, which is 5 to maximum 10 minutes, that will be always in Arabic language. And that's something because that's something unifying. If I'm going to travel to Egypt, I could easily join the community and pray together with them. If I go to Turkey or wherever, I can join them and pray with them. But all the speeches and everything around, that will be then in Arabic and Turkish, German, whatever. I guess for most of you it's clear that there are some things that churches and mosques and synagogues, they have in common, and some things they are a little bit different.
Yeah, media methods actually was one of the very interesting and useful method we have used. It also included 2 things, also searching the media and how the media serve the idea of oppression and discrimination against minorities, either political minorities or religious minorities. So they discovered a lot, and they were able also to see the difference between different media type, like international media and local media at both countries. So it was very important for them as well. They got a lot.
Very important place for many reasons. One of those reasons that Anna Frank, she was a bit younger than you, at the same age. So, and she did something amazing.
What we see here is not like a theory of Judaism or something, but it's really a human. It's a model of how Judaism was treated in the Nazi regime in Germany. So that's what I think is really interesting, yeah, because it's related to people, to humans.
So it is just like a model, and we can think about it later, how religion that should unite people can take us to such a very horrible model to see people are killed and run and killed and someone for them. So, and you can imagine how hard feeling, for example, someone like Anna or Annas everywhere all over the world, and how much they suffered through that.
I thought it was interesting to have me here in this round. That's why I applied, because there is a new perspective I brought maybe in this group. The one of being a German, completely German, but with a different faith. So people couldn't tell me go out of our country, so there is no reason for discrimination. And I think different religions are very interesting. I've throughout my whole life been dealing with them. I think it was very nice that we visited the different religious worship places. Especially for me, it was interesting to see the synagogue, because I feel it is very difficult to be in touch with the Jewish community, and I think it's very interesting, and especially me as a Muslim, I can only say that the Jews and Muslims have a lot in common.
I know some informations about Islam, so I think the Jewish community and the Baha'i community are getting closer to me with some useful information.
That you are here as Egyptians and come here to this place, that warms my heart, I must say. That's what I want to close with that.
It's so hard in Egypt to get to know each other in these religions, so I think here is useful experience to be here.
So we worked with methods of the theater of the oppressed, and it's a method that was invented by Augusto Boal, also because of political reasons. And the idea of that method is there are always oppressed people and people who oppress others, and we wanted to find out with this kind of method who is the oppressor, who is going to be oppressed also in this kind of theme. And the benefit of this method is you don't talk, but you play. And the idea is sometimes it's easier to find truth in a picture, because maybe it's not that easy to talk about it, and also because maybe you don't even know it, so that's why you can't talk about it. And in the pictures you see it. In some reflections, some people said, some of them said they expected to have a lot of information, and then they said what is much more important to them now, and that's also what they get here, is the exchange part. So it's not a religion they meet, but it's people, and that's important.
They have learned to work together, which I find very interesting, and they also have developed themselves techniques and methods to understand each other and to anticipate what they bring, what each one of them brings. And this is something that I think for us as teamers is very important also, to see, to watch, and to possibly try to adapt ourselves as much as we can.
Great fusion, isn't it? At the end, all an illusion. Believe in yourself, love was no doubt. Believe in yourself, love was no doubt.
We will make a dance move created by those two.
Culture, religion, German, Egyptian, culture, religion. We like it.
I applied for this project because I thought it was really interesting that seeing other people's perspective about their own religion and about my religion.
When you see people doing something, you don't understand what they're doing unless you understand their beliefs. So I like the idea of having a dialogue with open-minded people and discussing different things, and if you don't like something, you can frankly say that you don't like it and you don't understand it, so they can explain their point of view. So it was an amazing idea. That's why I applied. Yeah. I loved the GPS tour we had in Berlin. That was amazing. I love the people. People here are amazing, and the discussions are very good so far.
Most of the places it's better to walk to them.
You make the route by yourself. It's not a pre-given route. You choose the stations that you want to do.
Well, religious minorities had to be put outside of the center. That's what they said at the other church.
No, it's okay. Reported. Okay.
Okay, this one.
Next station.
Okay, let's go.
I thought this was a very good because very practical.
I had this chance because I'm a feminist to talk to someone who's speaking about Islamic feminism, which is Dr. Umayma Abu Bakr, which is a little bit controversial. Still, I had my own concerns as well, but it's good to hear the other side of the story.
It was great to have such an important and knowledgeable person speak to us, and I learned a lot from her because, for example, she explained to us where all the oppression of women, some people think there's in Islam comes from, but actually it's not in the Quran, but it's groups that have different interpretations of the Quran that are not actually true, not right.
One of the places that we have visited in Coptic Cairo was the Orthodox Church and the Greek Orthodox Church, which was very interesting for many different reasons. St. George, the one who was there in this church, he was tortured, and there were even a cell that he was imprisoned in, and we were able to visit this cell, and it was very interesting to be there.
When we visited Coptic Cairo, I was very impressed by the hanging church because it's actually built on an old fortress, and I thought it was really cool to see how they reused the space and that from the church they adapted to the old building, and it looked very interesting, and I was amazed by the way this church was built and to see all the new symbols and the old symbols inside the church.
I think going to the citadel was also a very interesting experience that we had. This citadel is very symbolic for many different reasons. First of all, when you are there, you can really see the skyline of the whole Cairo, and when you are there, you can always be able to distinguish you can easily see many different nomes of life in Cairo just by standing there. You can see the mosque in front of the church, you can see Al-Azhar University, you can see the very tall buildings on the Nile Tower that are now has nothing to do with the original or the old authentic city. Second thing which was interesting also is when you enter the mosque itself and look around the mosque has been built during the Ottoman Empire, so it has a lot of inspiration as an architecture from the Ottoman Empire. But when you try to understand what was the original concept that this mosque built on, you will find that it's back to the Byzantine era, which was the church of Hagia Sophia in Turkey. So it was originally a church, and then this church were the main inspiration for building this type of mosques that now are so much visible and available in Turkey. And this is the model that we have in Egypt for this type of a mosque and this type of an architecture that were originally generated by a Christian faith architecture. Like the architecture itself was a Christian person. So
when we were in the mosque in the citadel, I actually joined the evening prayer with Muslim friends. It was an experience I had never experienced before. It felt very different from what I know from Catholic churches.
With Adrian was simulating a prayer. That was really nice because this is the very essence of religion. It's about spirituality, not about the practice, because the practice at the end of the day is something which is materialistic. Religion is not about something which is materialistic, it's about the soul.
In the program, when we planned the program in the beginning, it was one of the ideas mentioned that we have to not always be the ones who are co-facilitating the program. It doesn't always have to be us who are talking about religions or perspectives, because by the end of the day, it's not necessarily a must that we're representing these religions. So we thought of bringing people who are from different religious institutions in Egypt. So we will not need to speak on their behalf. They just can come and express themselves to the participants directly without any sort of barrier. So that's why it happened during the program that we invited different keynote speakers. Among these keynote speakers were a speaker from the Ministry of Endowment, and another speaker were from the Evangelical Church, and both of them, they had a very nice time with the participants, expressing their opinions and their statements on the Egyptian society and the current and nowadays affairs.
My parents are from Afghanistan, and they kind of were raised with the Islam, but they didn't really tell me so much about it. This is why I really wanted to know more about it and just educate myself.
Yesterday, we finally started to think about ways we can use the knowledge we gained throughout the whole 2 weeks. And it was very interesting because we thought about which areas we can influence to make the things better, the problems we saw with interreligious relationships and dialogue and everything. And then we came up with 4 different groups, 4 different approaches to this problem, how to solve them. And what I really liked about it, that we made a concrete plan, multiple steps, and came up with a whole project to solve this problem, and then presented it to the whole group and got some feedback on it and found out where we have to work on it, what we have to watch out for when we actually want to do this project, and it was very interesting. I'm amazed by the group spirit here, because actually I've never had this feeling that everyone in this group is super friendly to everyone. We are all great friends and we really understand each other and can talk about anything, so there are a lot of very interesting conversations with the others. And I have learned a lot from all these people. They come from different places, different backgrounds, but we all get along very well.